Welcome to Hollywood Backstory. I'm AWA Allen, and today let's talk about Colonel Col Quaritch and some of the plot holes and unanswered questions that his character creates by being in the second movie. So, in the first movie, the Colonel was killed by Neytiri. She shot him with 2 arrows, and he died. But now, in the second movie, we see that his memories were placed into an avatar. Now, this leads me to some questions. I feel like that technology is something new for the humans that they did not have in the first movie. Because in the first movie, Jake Sully was needed because his brother was killed and he was neurologically compatible to his brother. And in the first movie, we see the humans have to lay in a pod to be connected to the avatar that they're going to drive. If that connection is broken somehow, the avatar is going to stop moving. So if the human is ripped out of the pod, is killed, the avatar is going to stop moving. If the avatar is killed, the human is going to wake up. So if they had that technology available, then they would have just put Jake Sully's brother's memory into an avatar and continued on with the mission. So if this is new technology, then it means it came about after the first movie, which means the video that the Colonel is making is after the first movie, which means then how did he die on Pandora? We saw him die. He got shot with 2 arrows and died. Matter of fact, we see his corpse in the second movie. So I feel that maybe that Colonel that we saw on Pandora in the first movie might just be a clone. Maybe these humans have that technology. If they can grow an avatar for them to drive around, this is a biological life form. Is it possible that these humans also have the technology to clone, to grow a human? Okay, so now this leads to another plot hole. In the movie, we saw the Colonel looking at his corpse, looking at his skull in his hands, and having a memory of Neytiri shooting him with 2 arrows. So how did that memory get onto the hard drive if he was dead? Because while he was doing the video, we saw the hard drive next to him. He was alive and well, right? So again, that's why I feel that the video was done after the first movie, and that maybe this Colonel that we see on the video is on Earth or on a space station somewhere, and the Colonel that we saw in the first movie was actually being driven by him the same way they drive avatars by laying in a pod. Well, maybe he was laying in a pod driving his human form of himself on Pandora. Now that's a stretch, right? That's a wild stretch, but it's maybe it's possible. Maybe they'll explain that in the third movie or the fourth movie, or maybe they'll just brush over it, because there's no way he's going to have that memory of being shot with 2 arrows, because those memories didn't get extracted, unless he was laying on a pod somewhere and then he woke up and it's like, okay, that memory would still be fresh in his mind. And so here's another wild theory. We know that Pandora is in Alpha Centauri, and Alpha Centauri is 4.3 light years away from Earth. And there's a theory that the further you go away from Earth, time passes differently, right? So since this movie supposedly takes 10 years after the first movie, maybe it's 10 years on Pandora, but maybe that's 100 years on Earth, right? So we don't see it in the first movie, but we might be able to assume that in the first movie they were also hunting those tokens, which are like whales, for that substance that they have it stops human aging altogether. So this is why I feel like the Colonel that we see on the video leaving a message to himself. Why would he leave a message to himself? Did he know he was going to die? Or was this one of those, well, just in case I die? But then if in case you die, who are you giving this message to, right? Because in the first movie, you don't have the technology to put your memory on a hard drive, because that's not how avatars are controlled in the first movie. So this all feels like it's after the events that take place on the first movie. But since we know that they can get that chemical substance out of these tokens to permanently stop human aging, maybe this Colonel we're looking at, or maybe all the people on Earth, are over 100 years old, and now he's getting ready for the second wave, and now they have this new technology, and he has to give this memory update to his avatar when it arrives on the planet. So just some wild, hairy ideas that Colonel Quaritch's character created by being in Avatar 2, and we will continue to have some interesting plot holes and unanswered questions. As we saw in Avatar 2, he is alive and well and moving on into the third movie. So we'll have more of him in the third movie. But all in all, great movie. Hope you've seen the movie already. If not, get out there and watch it. Well, that's all I got on that for today. As always, please hit the like and subscribe button. Leave in the comments any movie you would like me to do a backstory on, or if you have any answers or theories on Colonel Quaritch's plot holes that he has created, please leave that in the comment, and stay tuned for the next video. As always, keep those cameras rolling.